Hello and welcome back to my channel. So when I had the idea to make a video how to stop caring what people think about you, I was like, yeah, I have to make that, because how many people do I know that care so much people think about them? I know so many people care so much what people think about them, and I was like the worst. I cared so much about strangers and people I knew, and I've come so far. So I thought that I should share some things that I've done to help me, and just thoughts that I have reminded myself over the course of I don't know. I would say it's been maybe like a year and a half is how long I've been like working on it, but maybe the last 6 months I've probably made the most progress. But anyway, by the end of this video, I really think that you're gonna care a lot less what people think about you. So I'm gonna go over some reasons why people care what they think about, why people care what people think about them. I'm gonna give you the reasons why it actually does not matter what anyone thinks about you, and then I'm gonna give you some journal prompts and exercises to do to help you. So a lot of the times when someone cares what everyone else thinks about them, it's because they don't feel confident in themselves, and so they're seeking that outside validation. So when someone criticizes them, that hits them very hard because they already don't feel good about themselves. So someone criticizing them almost confirms their biggest fears, that they're maybe not good enough. Like someone could be criticizing the smallest act they do, the smallest thing they do, and it'll hit them very hard because they're already not confident in themselves. And when you're not confident in yourself, you're not going to be confident in the decisions you make. So it'll be very easy for you to feel attacked when someone ridicules you or disagrees with something you're doing. Also, when you're caring what someone thinks about you, you're trying to control their mind. You are not responsible. God did not give you the burden of trying to control everyone's mind around you. You have one mind, and you're only responsible for yourself. You want to make your mind a safe, nice place to be. And so that's why when you only worry about yourself and what you think about yourself, and for me, I care what God thinks about me, and then I also care about my husband, but mostly it's me and God that I care about. When you make your brain a safe place and you're not worrying about everyone else, trying to control everyone else, you feel so much peace in your life, because it is very, very hard to try to control everyone else around you. And when you feel responsible for someone else's emotions, that is extremely exhausting for yourself, and that is going to drain your energy. I also meant to add here that if you are a people pleaser, it can be very hard for you to not care what people think because you're trying to please everyone else around you. But like I was saying here, God did not give you that burden to control everyone else's emotions, and you are not responsible for how they feel. You are only responsible for yourself, and how they react is on them, and that's actually a reflection of them. If they're getting triggered by you or what you're saying, that is not you triggering them, that is their reaction, and you are not responsible for their emotions, only your own. It's not up to you to control everyone else's emotions around you. You do not need to put that weight on your own shoulders. Also, I have my iPad here. I took a bunch of notes, so if you see me looking in this direction a lot, it's because I'm looking at my notes to make sure I'm covering everything. A lot of times people are actually projecting what's in their brain on other people. So sometimes someone is not even judging you. They're just caught up in their own life and worrying about themselves, but you might think that they're thinking about you. Like you might be thinking, oh, they probably think I'm so dumb. They probably think I'm making the wrong decision. But that's you projecting your own thoughts and fears from your mind into theirs, because you're not confident with yourself, and you're, like I said, not confident with the decisions that you're making. And what this does is this makes the other person your enemy for no reason. If you are assuming what other people think about you, then you're making them an enemy. You're making them the bad guy, when they might not have even thought a single thing about you or what you're doing. So it's not really fair to make them the bad guy. I know that I struggled with this, where I would assume what someone thought about me when really I had no evidence, and so I was just villainizing them for no reason. Maybe they were judging me, but they probably weren't. A lot of people are caught up in their own lives, and when someone is judging you, you have to remember, if someone's pointing at you, they have 3 fingers pointing back at themselves. And a lot of times people are projecting their own fears onto someone else. Like, you know, the Bible verse, like, take the log out of your own eye before you notice a speck in someone else's. So a lot of times people will judge. They'll be like, wow, like I can't believe she has a YouTube channel. That's so embarrassing, because actually they know that they would be embarrassed themselves to do it. They're pointing at you, but they have three fingers pointing back at themselves. So you have to remember that a lot of times people, when they're judging your actions, they're not putting themselves in your shoes. And so yeah, maybe they would never do it, but they're not you. And if someone is judging you or making fun of you in this way, you have to remember that if they are talking bad about you, they are already below you. You are above them, and you do not want to take advice or care what people who are below you think, and people that you would not happily trade places with. So these people are scums. They are below you if they're going to be judging you. So you have to remember that. I'm going to give you probably the biggest thing that's helped me to stop caring what people thought. And so I'm going to go over like not caring what strangers think and not caring what people like close with loved ones in your life think, because I definitely struggled with both of those things, and I feel like a lot of people do. And some people don't care at all what strangers think, but they cannot get over what their parents think about them. So think of 90-something-year-old you lying on your deathbed. You're reflecting on your life, and you're thinking of all of the things that you didn't do because you care what someone thought about you. Can you imagine the regrets? That helps me so much. So I'm like, wow, I would regret if I don't at least try this. Even if it's something small, like taking pictures in front of strangers. Like, okay, you're probably never gonna see those strangers again. If they think you're vain for a few minutes, okay, that's just a few seconds of them judging you. And even if they do think you're vain, how is that gonna affect you? How is that gonna change your day? How is that gonna change the course of your life if they think you're vain? If you wanna take a cute picture or video and there's strangers around and they're gonna judge you, so that is not affecting you. And would you rather regret it later? Like, oh, I wish I had a memory of that place, but I didn't want strangers to judge me, so I didn't get any photos. You don't want to do that. But like I was saying, 90-year-old you, do you want to be reflecting on your life and just thinking about all the regrets you have? No, you don't. You can't let others dictate your life. So here's the thing. Say you're 18 right now. How many people that are in your life right now are going to be in your life by the time you're 90? A lot of the people that are in your life now, you might never see them again after this year. So for you to change the course of your life and possibly miss out on such amazing opportunities because you're worried about their judgments is ridiculous. You will probably not see these people again. Your life is a book. It's a big chapter book, and a lot of people are only going to be in your life for a few pages or maybe a few chapters. So for you to change yourself and either not be your authentic self or change your actions would really be a tragedy, in my opinion. I can't count the number of people I've talked to that have such wonderful ideas, such cute ideas, like becoming a YouTuber. I'm just using that example because I'm on YouTube right now, but so many people I've talked to would love to start a YouTube channel, but they're worried about what like the people in their hometown think. Like, what? You're not going to see these people again eventually. Maybe now you're around them, but in a couple years you'll probably never see 90% of those people again. So it does not matter. And starting a YouTube channel, for example, that can change the entire course of your life. I mean, after a year of doing it, it could be paying all your bills. It could literally be the reason you can buy a house. It can do so much for you. And so for you to possibly miss out on such a gigantic opportunity because you're worried about other people thinking you're cringy would literally be a tragedy. And like I said, a lot of times when these people are pointing at you, they have three fingers pointing back at themselves. And say you do something and you fail. Like my husband and I, we tried to move to Florida, and after a few months we had to move back. The job market was extremely competitive in the area, and I wasn't working, so we were looking for a very high paying job right off the bat. We were literally paying like 3 times as much in bills as we were paying where we lived prior to that. And so we had to move back. And yeah, I could let that cripple me. I could be so embarrassed, or I could realize like, wow, I pursued my dream. How many people do you know that say, oh yeah, I would love to try that, but they don't? So while I'm over here trying something and failing, they never tried in the first place. And most of the time you cannot have success without failure. So say they don't get the guts to do it for another 10 years. So they're going to be failing for the first time in 10 years, where I tried last year. So maybe this time next year, I'll be living my dream while they hadn't even started because they were worried about what people might think about them. I'm not embarrassed. I don't care. At least I tried. So many people don't try. So if you're nervous to do something and you're worried about failing, at least you tried. And usually there cannot be success without some failure along the way. So you're doing yourself a huge favor by starting as soon as possible so that you can get those failures out of the way so that the success can come. And the next point I want to make is no one else lives in your brain. It is only you in here. You want to make it a nice place for you. And something else that I've heard a lot of people say, you've probably heard this too, is do not let people that don't pay your bills have any impact on your life. At the end of the day, those people are not paying your bills, so why should they be dictating any part of your life? Too many people are letting useless people take up real estate in their mind. Your mind is precious and the space in there is precious. So allowing people that don't add value to life to take up real estate because you're worried what they may think is such a waste of precious real estate. Your brain has much better things to do than store the opinions of others in it. God made you the way He did for a reason. You have to trust in the ability to make your own decisions and not rely on the opinions of others. I definitely used to be someone where I would ask everyone for their advice. And then I realized that that was really giving me a disadvantage, because say I had an idea, something I really wanted to do, and I asked someone their advice, I asked 5 people their advice. 4 people said, yeah, that's like a great idea. You should definitely try that. And then one person said, oh, I don't know. Like, I know someone that tried that and it really didn't work out. Well, then that's kind of them having 3 fingers pointing back at themselves because they know that they're too scared to try it. So then I would go, so then what if I said, oh, you're right, and then I didn't try it? And that good thing could have changed my life. No matter what, even if it may seem insignificant, it could have changed my life. So you have to be confident in your own ability to make decisions. Now I will do like huge things without consulting anybody because I know that it may be harder for me to do the same thing if someone casts their doubts into my mind. So I know it's not a good idea to go to people before doing something. I know that if I had the idea, I have to trust myself and trust my gut and trust that that idea came from a good place like God and that I should pursue it. Also, as women, we're super blessed with amazing intuition. Now, I hate to say this, but if you're on hormonal birth control, that will be altered. You won't have the same ability because the connection between the uterus and the rest of the body is cut off when you're on that. But for everybody else, we have this amazing intuition. We have gut feelings, and that stems from like our ability to create life in our uterus. And so when you are able to know if something is for you or not by listening to your gut. And there is a difference between anxiety and a gut feeling. So for example, say someone has been cheated on before, and so they're nervous about their partner cheating. Maybe their partner is home late one day. If you're feeling your heart racing and you're feeling really nervous about it, that's anxiety, and you don't listen to the anxiety. That's not you. That's just your body being nervous because it's using past traumas to get to you. But if it's like a low, slow, kind of like deep knowing feeling, that's your gut feeling. So you need to know, that's your gut instinct. So you need to be able to distinguish between those two, because there's a lot of things in life that are going to make you nervous, but that's completely different than having a gut feeling about something. So if there's something that you want to do, a decision you need to make, instead of going to others who maybe they have 90% of the picture, but they will not have the full picture. Only you truly have the full picture. You need to go to yourself and you need to trust your gut instinct and trust your own ability to make decisions. And let's say that you care what your family members think. Say they're giving you unsolicited advice and they think that you're doing things all wrong. Like I said, you have to remember that's only you and your brain. And so you want to make it a nice place. And at the end of the day, you are perfectly able to make your own decisions. And if they don't agree with your decisions, ask yourself, what is that going to change for me? Is it really going to catastrophically affect my life if someone doesn't think I'm doing the right thing? It doesn't really matter. They have their own life to worry about. They can worry about their life. You can worry about your own. And so I understand that it is really scary to do things that are maybe outside of the norm or against the grain. But if you're liked by everyone, you're doing something wrong in life. You're not being bold enough and you're not being your true authentic self. You're being a people pleaser. Not everyone is going to be your cup of tea and you're not going to be everybody else's cup of tea. And that's a good thing, because if you're pleasing everyone, then you're not being your true authentic self. And every time you change yourself, you're lowering your self-esteem, because you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough to be my true authentic self and I have to conform to meet other people's desires and to be like them. So I know it can be hard when someone doesn't like you, but for you to change yourself to conform to make them like you, you're really hurting yourself, and that has a deeper impact than you may see, because you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough and I can't be myself, I can't be authentic, and you're hurting your self-worth and your self-esteem. You know the saying, comparison is a thief of joy? I also think that caring what other people think is the thief of joy. It will destroy you. It will eat you alive if you allow it. I used to be someone that cared so much. Even strangers. I cared about what strangers thought. And like, you're not going to see them again. And the thing is you cannot get a full picture of someone in a few second interaction. Also, if you're someone that gets a lot of anxiety worrying about what strangers think about you, say worrying about if you're walking weird, if you look fat in your outfit, if you just did something embarrassing, if you waved to the wrong person, when you are doing these things, you are in your brain, you are in your head, you are not in your body. So the quickest way to stop being so self-conscious and caring what these strangers think about you and worrying about how you're being perceived is to drop into your body and think about how you feel. So say you're on a walk, instead of being self-conscious about the way you look and the way you're acting, maybe you feel like you'll look awkward, think about how you feel. Enjoy how you feel. Enjoy the sun on your skin. How does it feel to move your body? Think about that. Think about how nice it is outside and look at the trees around you. So get out of your head and get into your body so that you can be present. So something that helped me to stop caring what other people thought is realizing that you play a different character in everyone else's book. So say you're at the grocery store and you take the last bunch of bananas. In someone else's brain, and the stranger next to you, you're the bad guy. You're the villain. And at first, this did not make me feel good. I was like, oh, I want to be the nice girl. I want to be I want to leave a good impression in everyone's brain. So at first, this did not sit right with me. I don't want to be the villain in people's story. And I'm like, how many people's story am I the villain in? But then I was like, wait. So there's a 100% fact. There's definitely 100% chance that I'm the villain in somebody's brain. And how has that affected me? It hasn't. And that's what helped me realize that it does not affect me what people think, because I'm sure there's people that I've made upset, even if it was taking the last bunch of bananas at the store. And so I'm the villain in their brain, and it hasn't affected me at all. I didn't even know about it. So that shows that it does not change anything when you're the bad guy in someone else's story. You're a different character in everyone's story. So to some, you're a great, loving person. To others, you're their hero. To others, you're just a nice stranger. To others, you're the bad guy. But it does not affect you. It is not going to affect your day-to-day life what they think about you. So I hope that can bring you peace the way that it brought me peace, knowing that it hasn't affected me in any way, knowing that I'm the villain in some people's story. Let's go back to family members. If you're allowing your family members' opinion to change how you're acting, then they are controlling you. You are letting them control you. And that is not how you want to spend your life. You were not made to be controlled by these people. You deserve so much better, and you will feel so good being released from the shackles of trying to please everyone and caring what everybody else has to say about you. Even if it is a family member, of course you want the validation and you want them to think highly of you. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you in your life. And like I said, if you're acting a different way because they might judge you, then you're hurting your own self-esteem by not being your true authentic self. Or on a larger scale, if you're not doing something like, say, following a dream of yours because you're worried what they might think, then that has a huge consequence and you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So I heard one of my favorite YouTubers say something that for me was like life-changing. So hopefully for you guys it is too. So her name is Alexis, and she gave an example, completely changed my perception. She said, Taylor Swift would not get off the stage and go to the back alleys to talk to the scums of the earth and ask, what do you guys think about my performance? And then take out a notepad and start taking notes of what they had to say and writing down everything they had to say. Oh, you didn't like the way I did this? Okay, got it. Oh, you thought that it was weird when I did this? Okay. Oh, you don't like my voice? Okay. She would never do that. She would not be where she is. No famous person would be where they were if they were taking the notes from strangers, from scums of the earth. And I hate to say scums of the earth because every human is valuable, but I'm just saying people that really had no impact in her life and are just random strangers. She would never do that, and she would not be where she is today if she did do that. So think of yourself as a performer. Think of yourself as the main character, because in your own life, you are the main character. It's your story, like I said. For you to ask other people what you should do and potentially change the course of your life is doing yourself a huge disservice. I will say that again and again until people really let that sink in. And so if people are genuinely saying bad things about you and judging you, you have to remember that that's usually a reflection of themselves. So if someone is saying like, oh, like she's so weird, what is she wearing? That's so embarrassing. She's making a YouTube video. She's dating that guy. She's having kids already. That's a reflection of themselves, and they don't know the full picture. They don't know what your life is like, and you should feel sorry for them, because instead of them reflecting on their life and trying to make it the best they can be, they're tearing down someone else because they're self-conscious in a way. And like I said, they're pointing at you because deep down, they know they would never do that, which is actually the reason why they'll never get the things that you're gonna get by doing that. Like I said, the success of starting a YouTube channel, for example. Now it doesn't feel good, and it is kind of a innate instinct for us to want to please others, because our ancestors, when they lived in big tribes, they had to be liked by the whole tribe because their lives depended on it. They had to be accepted. So it is hard to kind of go against our nature and tell ourselves that it doesn't matter what other people think and not let their opinions affect us. But like I said, if you're at 90 something years old on your deathbed, you will have such deep regret if you realize that you didn't enjoy your own life, your own accomplishments, you didn't follow your own dreams, you didn't do the things that made you happy or truly enjoy yourself in your life because you were worried about getting validation from others and what other people might have thought of you. But I really do understand wanting to be accepted, and it is hard, especially like I said, if it's someone that's like a constant in your life, like a family member or a friend. Of course you're going to want them to think highly of you, but at the end of the day, you're the only one in your brain. It's not going to affect you that much if they don't like you. Or if they're being super mean to you, then try to get away from them. Move away. Do what you've got to do. Or don't stop telling them things and just do you, live your life, and then the less they know, the less they can judge. A lot of times people don't do something because of how they think someone will react, and that's them projecting their fears into someone else and villainizing that person when that person never did anything in the first place. So be careful that you're not projecting your own fears into someone else's brain, because you don't know what they're going to think. And even if you think that they will disagree with you, like I said, you're not being bold enough if everybody likes you. If everybody agrees with you, you're not being bold enough. You're not being yourself. And that is doing yourself the greatest disservice, because you were made perfectly and you are perfectly able to make your own decisions and be uniquely you. You do not want to be a carbon copy of everyone else around you, because you're amazing and you were made exactly how you were supposed to be. And life would be so boring if everyone else was the same, and if people never ventured off to be different, if people never dared to follow their dreams. Life would be so boring and there wouldn't be anyone successful. Also, I think a lot of people know this, know this saying, like Kanye said, don't take advice from people less successful from you, or less successful than you. And I don't necessarily think that you have to follow that like to a T, like if they're less successful than you, because I mean everyone has different versions or different definitions of success. But I would say don't take advice from people that you wouldn't happily trade places with, or that aren't doing what you're doing. So if someone says, oh, I would never, let me think of an example. Someone says, it is not a good idea for you to start that business, but they already don't have a business and they're not your role model. Well, then why would you take advice from them? Do you want to switch places with them? Probably not. Or if someone says, I wouldn't parent my kids like that, but then their kids are not how you want your kids to turn out, then I wouldn't take advice from them. Especially since if it's a different generation, because every generation, the research is so much different. Parenting styles are so much different. Advice that doctors and professionals give is so much different. But that's a side topic. That's just an example I'm giving to try to give different examples that might resonate with you. Let's think of some other examples. If someone says, I don't think that's a good investment, but they're not an investment pro, they don't have a lot of good investments, then don't take advice from them. If someone says, I don't think he's a good match for you, well, first of all, if people do not know the full story, only you are truly going to know your partner. So it is good sometimes to get advice from other people about your partner specifically, because sometimes you might have rosy glasses on and you may not be seeing the red flags that people from the outside can see. But people from the outside cannot see the full picture. So they may not think that someone is a match for you, but they don't know what it's like behind closed doors. They don't know the full picture. So that is something that you do sometimes want, and like that's kind of different. Sometimes you do want advice about a potential relationship, because other people can sometimes see those red flags that you're too blind to see because you have those rosy colored glasses on. But say, for example, something that would have completely changed the course of my life and my son's life is a lot of people wanted me to work a job. For a long time now, there are people that really, really, really thought that I should be working. I've heard a lot of people say, like, you need to have your own money. You can't rely on your husband. You need to have your own retirement. You need to have your own bank account. I've heard a lot of people say that you cannot trust your man. You need to have your own money. It is not safe not to. If I listened to that, well then what? I would put my son in daycare, and knowing the research behind how bad daycare is for kids, I would change the whole course of his life and how he turns out, because I cared what people thought, and I thought, oh, like I should listen to them, or oh, I should be embarrassed that I'm not using my nursing degree, because I know a lot of people have been like, yeah, like you should really use that. You should get the experience now. Like a lot of seasoned nurses will say, like, you need to do the med surg now, get the good experience now. But I don't care what anyone else has to say. I simply don't care. I'm not going to change the course of my life because they think that I'm making a huge mistake. Or some people thought that I should be working because I need life experience. So this is many different people and their opinions, and I'm not going to listen to that unsolicited advice that I did not ask for, because it's not their life. It's my life. I can do whatever I want, and I have to trust myself that I know what's best for me, my son, and my family. And it does not matter what they think. Yeah, maybe they think I'm making a huge mistake, but this is not their life. It's not their decision to make. If I were to be making a mistake, then that's not their problem and that's none of their concern. This is my life. And I know when being younger, it is hard to not care what people think, especially if you're like middle school or high school and you just want the validation of others. But you have to remind yourself that so many people are in their head that they're not worried about you. Or if they are worried about you, then maybe they should be a little more worried about their own life and following their own dreams than stopping you from pursuing yours. Okay, so I definitely rambled a lot. I had like specific points and I wanted to go through them point by point, but I just kept thinking of things to say and kept like rambling. So hopefully I should do a summary. Okay, let me kind of go back to the points because that might not have made a lot of sense. So, and I don't think I mentioned this, I do want to say that not caring what people think sometimes is like a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back type of thing, especially if you're a woman. Like, I know when I'm in my luteal or menstrual phase, I'm more emotional and I'm definitely more sensitive to things. And so if someone has something bad to say about me, that will affect me more than say I'm in my ovulatory or follicular phase when I'm more savage, then I'm not going to care as much. But I do want to say I've come so far because I've constantly reminded myself of these things. But sometimes it is a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, ongoing battle. Okay, so a little recap is a lot of people feel anxious when people think about them because you're trying to control their emotions. You're trying to control everyone else around you and people please. You're trying to make sure that everyone else around you is happy and you are trying to people please. And you're trying to be accepted by them because of that innate instinct that our ancestors had to use when they lived in tribes. And then I mentioned how people are often projecting what they feel about themselves into others. So if they're not confident in their own decisions and they're feeling kind of maybe kind of bad about themselves and unsure, then they're projecting that in someone else's head, and they're thinking that person is judging them when they have no solid advice or no solid evidence. I mean, and that's villainizing that other person for no reason. Why shouldn't you care what people think about you? Remember, 9-year-old you lying on your deathbed. You do not want to reflect on your life and realize you have a life full of regrets and things you should have done, but you let the opinions of others stop you. Even if it's as simple as taking a picture out in public and you're worried that people will think you're vain or weird. You're never going to see those people again. So remember that. Strangers, I also mentioned strangers. I know it's hard to not care what they think. Like being a mom, that kind of changes the game. You kind of can't care what people think. One sec. Because it's gonna be hard for you if you care a lot. Like I know my son and I, like there's been times we're in a silent library at the kids zone, but there's no other kids, so it's dead silent, and he screams and cried at the top of his lungs, like screamed. And if I cared what people thought, that would like cripple me. But it doesn't matter what they think. It's like a few seconds of the day. It's not going to change my day or the course of my life if they think, oh, like she's a terrible mother, she needs to get her son under control. Or if strangers think that I shouldn't be like being as like doting with my son. It is not going to change the course of my life if they don't agree with my parenting style. And I need to trust my own instincts and my own decision-making ability that I'm doing the right thing. I've done the research and I need to be comfortable with my own decisions. So I know it's hard when you know that people around you are not approving, but your life is not going to be good if you're always caring what people think. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a comment from like an old lady about something that I'm doing with my son. Like, what's an example? Trying to think of what has been said to me. like, oh, you're just gonna let him crawl around like that? Like, I'm the parent. Yeah, I am going to. Or, it's not really a good example. I've definitely had judgments. Like someone asked if how it's going weaning him from his passy, and I'm not weaning him from his passy right now. I don't think that at 13 months that he really needs to be weaned from it. If he needs the comfort, then he can use his passy. But okay, those aren't really good examples. I'm kind of blanking right now, but there's definitely been many times where like an old lady or someone said something to me where they judged my parenting, but at the end of the day, I don't care what they think. It's not going to affect me in my life, and I'm able to make my own decisions. And life is too short to possibly miss out on a huge opportunity because I worried what someone else thought of me, or to spend any time worrying what this random stranger has to say about me and my parenting ability. Life is too short to be that upset by it. I cannot control everyone else's emotions. If she's offended, let her be offended. I cannot control her emotions, and I'm not going to try. I'm only responsible for controlling my own emotions. Okay. No one else lives in your brain. Like I said, you want to make it a nice place, and you want to limit the people that take up real estate in your mind, precious real estate in there, and their opinions have no space in your head. Something that helped me not care what people think is realizing that everyone sees me as a different character in their story, and to some, I'm a villain, and that has not affected my life whatsoever, being a villain in some people's stories. So if I'm the bad guy, I'm the bad guy. That's fine. And as someone who is an extreme people pleaser, I feel like I've come so far not caring about that. The example of Taylor Swift or any other musician going to the back alleys and asking the scums what they thought of her performance and taking notes. That would be insane. You would not make it very far in life taking notes what everyone thinks about you. You would not be successful like other people. You would just have a very average, boring life because you're not making bold decisions. Like I said, you are not being bold enough if everyone likes you and if everyone agrees with your decisions. They are just reflecting what they think onto you and likely having 3 fingers pointing back at them when they're pointing at you. You have to remember that. Even if they might have your best interest at heart, it's your life. They don't get to make your decisions. You are your own free person. We are so blessed to live in a free country. And so for us to sabotage ourselves and to let other people control us when we are so lucky to live in a free country it's just so upsetting. Like, so many people around the world would love to trade places with you. So for you to not enjoy the freedom of being your own person and being free from the shackles of being controlled by others would just be like kind of a slap in the face to other people that don't have freedom and wish that they could have it, because you have the opportunity to have complete freedom and to do what you want, when you want, how you want. And then next, it may be hard to have loved ones in your life not be proud of you, but at the end of the day, it is only you in your life, and you're the one that will be missing out on your dreams or hurting yourself, your own self-esteem, by not being your true authentic self. Okay, so for journal prompts, first I want you to write down any specific people that came to mind during this video that are in your life that you feel like are judging you, or that you know are judging you, or that you're worried about judging you. Write down those people and write down what you think they're judging you about, and I want you to go through and write down exactly how it will affect your life if they don't approve of the things you're doing, or whatever it may be. If they're judging your, like I said, your parenting, your job choice, your wardrobe, whatever it may be, I want you to write down exactly how them not approving of you is affecting your life. Okay, next, I want you to write down for a journal prompt, what would it feel like to be completely free from the shackles of not caring what anyone else thinks? How would it feel to just get to do what you want, when you want, how you want, your own way without it mattering what anyone else has to say about you. How would that feel? How would that freedom feel? How light would you feel? Okay, next journal prompt is, who is in my life taking up real estate in my brain that maybe I need to distance myself from, or maybe even move away from, because they are trying to dictate my life and control me? Who in my life am I allowing to control me? Okay, last journal prompt. I want you to write down all of the things that you would try, all of the dreams you would do, all of the way you would act, whatever it may be. How would you change if you moved to a brand new place, a new town, a new state, a new country? If you moved there and knew no one, you could act however you wanted. How would you be different? What would change? And I want you to reflect on each of these and journal about them, see what comes to mind. This should help you to see that your life could be so much better if you were free from caring what these people thought. I wanted to add one last thought here, because I know a lot of people I've talked to really struggle with feeling embarrassed about posting online. So I wanted to say that the best thing that you can do for that is kind of just exposure therapy, and just kind of force yourself to post the things that you want to, and then eventually you'll realize less and less that it's not embarrassing, and it doesn't matter if anyone else is judging you, because you like posting and it brings you enjoyment. Okay, I hate to end the video because I feel like this is something I could talk about for like hours, and I hope that I don't know if I hit all my points. I hope I hit all my points. If anything comes to mind later, I'll add it to the description, or if I'm editing the video and realize I forgot something, I'll add it to the video. But I really, really hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope that you can start the journey of not caring what people think. Like I said, sometimes I'll take 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's only natural. It's that innate instinct in us to want to be accepted by others for our own safety of our life, because if we weren't accepted by the tribe, then we were like good as dead. So it is hard to kind of go against that instinct to not care what people think, because that was how we survived a long time ago. But you can do it. Even if you can just get like 80% better than you are now, try. And I really encourage you to write down those journal prompts, like I said, because it will be so freeing. And sometimes just writing something down will automatically free you from it, especially if you're writing it down and you're coming to the realization as you write that it's actually not affecting you what these people think. So hope you guys like those journal prompts, and I hope you like this video. I'll see you guys next week's video. Thanks for watching.